kids, Saw Surgeon here. How you doing? Who likes chainsaws? Better yet, who likes Stihl chainsaws? Actually, probably the Husqvarna guys are gonna like this video the most because it shows an annihilated Stihl chainsaw. Bit the dust. Tragic, I gotta say. Let's see what happened here. Okay, our example today, Stihl MS290. Not my favorite saw, but they're a good saw. Depending upon what you're doing with it. It's not a professional grade saw. Look how clean this thing was. And it's junk already? That's crazy. Well, it's not junk because of Stihl. Because believe it or not, Husqvarna people, even your saws will die on straight gas. Yikes. This saw belonged to like a men's athletic club or sports club or something like that. And somebody put the wrong gas in it. So it scored the piston really bad and messed up the cylinder pretty bad. I don't have the piston that came out of it. The owner just showed up. Saw was given to him. It wasn't cost effective for the original owners to have it repaired at a saw shop with OEM materials and the labor rates of a saw shop. It's just not cost effective on these lower dollar saws. So they gave it away, bought a new saw. They could have gotten something out of it. Somebody would have given them something for parts for it, especially being as clean as it is. But I mean, at the right place at the right time. My buddy got the saw for nothing. Now he's going to have something into it now, though, because we're putting brand new, but not OEM. We're going to run a Meteor piston and cylinder. Meteor is made in Italy, and they have a good reputation from what, this is the first kit that I bought, but from what I've read, they're decent. It's considerably cheaper than OEM, and we just need to make this thing work, so hopefully this is going to work out for us. So, start off with, give you an example. I don't have the original piston, but I do have an example right here of a piston that has had similar damage. This piston, although it's got a little nick out of the skirt, really what happened with this one is lean air-fuel mixture. And we got a little galling of the piston cylinder. The ring was bonded to the piston. This example that this piston came out of, the saw, or I guess it was a string trimmer, it didn't actually seize up. It just lost compression and wouldn't start. So, and it was improper air fuel mix, I believe, on that one. It's been a while ago. This one here, all the rubber components feel really good on it. Intake manifold, or boot as it's often called, this is pliable. It's not like soft like jelly. It's not brittle, but we're going to change it anyway because we're putting brand new parts in it, and we want to assure that, you know, this is not the cause of failure of brand new components right out of the gate. That would be embarrassing for me and frustrating for the owner. Also, we're going to change this pulse line. It's a little rubber line that runs from the crankcase to the carburetor. This was what actually makes your fuel pump work on a 2-cycle engine. It senses the pulse of the piston going up and down, expanding and contracting the volumetric area inside of the crankcase. This cover will be on here, and then a little seal goes in the end. Where's my seal at? Okay, I can't see. So there'll be a seal that sticks in here. That seals up against the crankshaft. All that stuff feels good, but as cheap as it is, I think for an additional $30, I have all of the sealing components to renew it and make sure that it's going to be, you know, nearly, or it needs to be airtight when it's together. So So brand new component, really nicely cast and everything. However, I didn't like the look. I always inspect stuff like this, so even if it was some steel on it, I would look it over thoroughly for nicks and scratches and casting flaws and whatnot. And one thing I noticed with this, if I can get in here, right here, this little lug has a burr on it. And that burr happens to be on a bearing surface. So when this assembly goes down inside, these bearings, they're ball bearings, they will be cradled in this area here. And so that burr could potentially, if it sticks up, if it sticks up at all, it is going to possibly prevent that seal from sealing, touching all the way around. And then that would lose our airtight seal, and so then we would not get an accurate pulse reading. We wouldn't probably get any pulse reading. If there's a vacuum leak, that's one way of testing a two-cycle engine, is to block off the intake and the exhaust port, and block off this port, and then you run a vacuum source. Oftentimes I'll plumb it. And you just apply vacuum to it and see if it leaks down, and then you can also apply slight pressure to it. You don't want to over-pressurize it. I don't know the numbers right offhand. That's something that I haven't done very often, so I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but there's no sense in blowing out a seal that that either wasn't bad to begin with or that you just put in. So I'll check that before I do it. But anyway, it's a real low number, but you're just making sure that it doesn't bleed out one way or the other. So that's what we're up to today. Was hoping to just be able to slide this all together, but like I said, this burr in here is going to prevent me from just automatically putting it together. I have to address that. This actually has a little bit of the like Nika seal on it or whatever. It's a little harder than just bare aluminum. So I am going to use a die grinder. I've taken this, it was probably like a 3-inch wheel, and I've reduced its diameter. That's a whole nother video, but I've made it smaller so that now it is actually just slightly smaller than the bearing diameter. And so I will be able to take this die grinder in here and clean up that. I tried hitting it with sandpaper, like I said, and it is too hard to do that. So this will give me something that will basically match the radius. And I'm not gonna, I'm just taking the burr off. I'm not, it's just a little casting burr. But nonetheless, even if it didn't stick up, or maybe it doesn't even stick up, but I want it gone, because if it could fracture off and end up in the crankcase someday and in a bearing, that's a bad thing too. So we're just going to tidy it up. You see the original. It's hard to see in there, but that's really clean, the whole surface. It's got a nice little bevel to it, or chamfer on it. Just really nice and tidy. And the aftermarket one, the other side actually looks really nice. So all we're going to do is just clean that up to match the other side. So anyway, that's what's going on with this project. So my buddy is a chainsaw carver. He's an artist. Hopefully I'll be able to get a video maybe next week of him doing some carving at a fair. That's what we're putting this together for. It's not going to be a carving saw. It's what we call a chunking saw, or just he's going to use it for quick mass removal of material to rough out a carving before he gets to it with a smaller chainsaw with a carving bar on it. So hopefully I'll be able to get a little video of that too, and hopefully this saw will be the star of a upcoming video soon here. Hoping everything goes well with it. Don't see any reason why it shouldn't, but it should be a nice little unit for what he's going to do with it. It's not overly demanding, so should work well for that. So Anyway, thank you for watching, and be blessed.